Yes. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.
Angelo.
Excellent.
Right.
And I can see you, Anton. Can I hear you?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello. Thank you. Sherry, how about you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Perfect. Thank you. For those who just joined, I'm going to adjust your names so that your name shows who you're representing to make it easier on the folks taking minutes. Excuse me. So don't be surprised when you see that name change on the screen. That's just me controlling a little bit. And you can feel free to mute yourselves in the meantime. We'll get notice from Mike Hill, our videographer, when we're ready to start. And then I think Jimmy Vaselli will kick off the meeting for us until we appoint a chairman. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, Lori. I can see your video. Could you unmute yourself for a second just so we can test your audio? I lost her.
Noelle, you have screen sharing disabled for me.
Oh, let me fix that. Okay, try now. Sorry about that.
Yep, all good.
That looked like it worked, Tina. Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Hi, Lori. Can I test your audio?
Yes.
Perfect. We can hear you. Thank you for being here. I'm going to adjust your name so that it shows that you're representing the school district, just to make it easier on the folks taking minutes today.
Sure.
Thanks. And we'll just hang out a couple more minutes till our live stream is ready to go, and then we'll get started. Mr. Vasselli, will you be kicking us off until we appoint a chairman?
I will. I'll be more than happy to do that.
Thank
Noel, do you
you.
want to give it a minute or so?
Whenever you're ready, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. Starting in 1 second. So, welcome to the Joint Review Board meeting of the City of Waukegan for the proposed TIF District Number 11. The Joint Review Board is a special meeting required under the TIF Act and the Industrial Jobs Recovery Law for the purposes of certifying and approving requirements and reviewing the proposed eligibility factors within each proposed TIF district. We will call the meeting to order. The meeting of the City of Waukegan Joint Review Board for the proposed Waukegan TIF District Number 11 is called to order as of 2:07 p.m. I will call the roll. This may be a little bit challenging just because of how we are doing this virtually. Normally we have a meeting room. City member Edith Newsom.
Present.
I am special counsel for the city, James DeCelli. We have corporation counsel, Bob Long.
Here.
Waukegan Township High School, Michael Engel.
Warren Township High School here.
Sorry,
Present.
Warren Township. I apologize. I apologize. And if I get anything wrong or mispronounce anybody's name, I apologize. Just please correct me. Waukegan Park District, John Beckman.
Here.
TIF consultant, Kane McKenna and Associates, Phil McKenna.
Yeah, Phil McKenna's here. I'm also joined by Bob Richlicki and Nina Coppola.
Thank you. College of Lake County, Kenneth Gotch.
Here.
Thank you for announcing Mr. Richlicki and Ms. Coppola. Woodland School District 50, Lori Casey.
I'm here with Christopher Boback.
Thank you. Lake County Representative Angelo Kyle.
Yes, present.
Warren Township Representative Jim Hartman.
Here.
We've already talked to Noel. Thank you very much. We have the videographer. And then we have two members of the city's finance department. Tina, and who else is on with you?
Tina Smigelski and Sherry Martinez.
Thank you very much. So the first order of business for the Joint Review Board
We missed the public member.
we haven't appointed them yet, Bob.
That's true.
So the first order of business, thank you, Bob, is the appointment of a public member. I believe that we have a proposed public member of Anton Matthews. We would need a motion and a second for the appointment of Mr. Matthews as the public member.
So moved. Ken Gotch.
Second.
Waukegan Park District, second.
The motion has been made and seconded. And thank you. Are there any questions, comments, or debate? Seeing none. City and everyone, I'm going to call out your name and we will respond in accordance therewith, providing, your yay, aye, nay, or abstain. And when you call out your name, please do state which taxing district you are representing. City,
Edith Newsom, City of Waukegan.
Warren Township High School. Oh, Madam Newsom, did you cast a vote?
Aye.
Thank you. High school.
Hi, Warren Township High School.
Thank you. Park District.
Yes, Waukegan Park District.
College of Lake County.
College of Lake County, Ken Gotch, yes.
Woodland School District 50.
Woodland School District 50, Lori Casey, yes.
Lake County.
Angelo Kyle, Lake County.
Mr. Kyle, is that a yes or a no? Or do you
Yes.
abstain? Thank you. And Warren Township Representative.
Jim Hartman, Warren Township, yes.
Am I missing? I don't believe I'm missing anyone. Mr. Matthews, congratulations. You are the public member for this meeting. Our second order of business is the appointment of the chair. We do need to select a chair pursuant to the dictates of the TIF Act and the section regarding joint review boards. It's common, but not mandated, that the mayor of the city or his or her designee be selected as the chairman of the joint review board. Do we have any nominations?
I would like to make a motion to nominate Alderman Edith Newsom.
Is that motion receiving a second?
Waukegan Park District, seconds.
The motion has been made and seconded. Any questions, comments, or debate? Seeing none. City,
Edith Newsom, aye.
Warren Township High School,
Aye.
Waukegan Park District,
Yes.
College of Lake County,
Yes.
Woodland School District 50.
Yes.
Mr. Public Member,
Aye.
Lake County,
Aye.
and Warren Township.
Yes.
Madam Chair, congratulations. I will turn over this job, this distinguished job, to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the review of the JBR, which is the Joint Review Board Procedures and Duties. Is someone going to take over that, Noel?
That will be Mr. Vasili.
Okay, so he talked about that a little bit.
Jamie, will you be reviewing the duties and procedures?
Yes, I apologize. And I will eventually be turning this over to Kane McKenna, our TIF consultants, with regards to this. But if you give me 1 second, I'm just having a little bit of a technical difficulty here. Just give me 1 minute. Thank you.
Hey, Jim, this is Bob from K McKenna. If you're having a technical difficulty there, you want us to take over on that, or how do you
No,
want to
I'm fine.
proceed?
I'm fine now.
Got
I'm
it?
sorry. I was actually reading something and I didn't know I was on mute. So Bob, I apologize.
Sure.
So the board shall review and is charged with reviewing the public record, planning documents, and proposed ordinances approving the redevelopment project and plan. This is done as a requirement under the TIF Act. As part of its deliberations, the board may hold additional hearings on the proposal. The board's recommendation shall be advisory and non-binding recommendation. The recommendation shall be adopted by a majority of those board members present and voting. The recommendation shall be submitted to the municipality within 30 days after convening of the board. Failure of the board to submit its report on a timely basis shall not be the cause to delay the public hearing or any other step in the process designating or amending a redevelopment project area, but shall be deemed to constitute approval by the joint review board of the matters before it. The board shall base its recommendations to approve or disapprove a proposed redevelopment plan and the designation of the redevelopment project area or the amendment of a redevelopment plan on the basis of the redevelopment project area and redevelopment plan satisfying the plan requirements, the eligibility criteria defined in section 11-74.4-3 and the objectives of this act. It is a board of limited jurisdiction, again, reviewing solely those matters before it to determine if the redevelopment project area and plan satisfy the plan requirements and the eligibility criteria defined in that section of the act. Madam Chair, does that work for you?
That works for me. Thank you.
Would you like me to turn it over to Phil McKenna and the TIF consultants?
Yes, please.
Thanks, Jim. I'm Phil McKenna, and along with Bob and Nina, we wanted to go through a PowerPoint, excuse me, talking about this TIF district and the findings associated with it. Noel, are you going to run that, or?
I will run it. Give me just a second
Okay.
to get it up.
Sure,
My mouse isn't
absolutely.
wanting to cooperate.
I was hoping when you assign names, you might make me Mookie Betts, but it's my baseball prejudice. Okay, so the area we're talking about is generally the Fountain Square area. It exists, the TIF district proposed excludes the Walmart. It excludes all the residential around Fountain Square and any of the industrial manufacturing warehousing to the south of there. So it's really just the retail entertainment part of what exists as Fountain Square now. We go to the next slide. We're going to talk some about interchangeably about the redevelopment project and plan, which, as you know, is the main document with respect to the TIF designation. The city's strategic and fiscal planning and the TIF district qualification factors as well, and then some key elements of the TIF plan, the city strategy, and what the next steps are. We could switch to the next one. The redevelopment plan and project consist of, one more, thank you, consist of a background that's founded on the comprehensive plan, which already identifies the southwest portion of Waukegan and Fountain Square in particular as significant components of the city's economic base, and because of their location, a significant utilization of that base in the future. The city did a 2020 comprehensive plan update, which I think is before the council in the next few weeks. That recognized the need for a specific strategy in the Fountain Square area, and something to stimulate and enhance the new commercial and retail and mixed use development. By undertaking the designation of the TIF, the city will be helping to preserve and strengthen that area, and as the city moves forward to finding new resources and good overall investment. Go to the next slide. The project plan and objectives include assisting and coordinating redevelopment activities within the area, and specifically those types of redevelopment activities that fit in with the city's comprehensive plan and amendment to the comprehensive plan. As kind of a side note, but one of the things that we've been seeing in our work on behalf of economic development is as we go through a de-retailing stage, often large original malls like Vernon Hills, Golf Mill, and others are being made into residential primarily. That's not the city's intent here, and it wants to make sure that it does whatever possible to create a good environment for retail, for entertainment purposes. We want to reduce some of the negative factors that exist within the area, accomplish the redevelopment over a reasonable period of time, and provide for high quality public improvement. There definitely are some roadway improvements that are necessary here. There's transit possibilities, and there is a lot of public infrastructure that still needs to be upgraded in order to match total investment. So we'll provide an overall attractive appearance for the area. We go to the next one. This is the map of the area. I think you're all pretty familiar with it. The original area we looked at was further to the west, all the way to 94. But then through investigation with the city's attorneys, discovered that we could make improvements to the 94 interchange by virtue of its proximity to the proposed TIF district. We said we took out Walmart and we took out all the adjacent residential around there, thinking that they didn't fit best in terms of the overall planning. If we go to the next slide. This redevelopment project and plan, in our opinion, complies with the TIF Act for several reasons. First, it conforms with the city's comprehensive plan and with the soon to be adopted plan amendment. It's an area that's contiguous parcels and it's at least an acre and a half, more than an acre and a half. The proposed district meets the minimum number of TIF Act criteria for a blighted area as defined under the Act. And I just emphasized at that time, it's the area as a whole that we're looking at. The but-for requirement is met. Redevelopment is feasible only with the utilization of tax increment financing. In support of that finding, we note that the city has had previous offers to do some development within this area, but it hasn't gone forward because there hasn't been enough of a financial commitment available on the private sector's part. It's always looked for some public improvements to be part of that. And additionally, as we talked about before, what we're seeing in the retail environment is the demalling of places, the de-retail outlets, and we're seeing more residential. So that's not to be in concert with the city's comprehensive plan. We want to see entertainment and retail in the venue. We go to the next slide. City's strategic and fiscal planning, which is guided in large part by those amendments to the overall comprehensive plan, but also by other works of the city staff. We want to promote improvement and enhancement of the viable existing commercial buildings that are there, including facade improvement, signage, structural repairs, so that small businesses can participate as well. Promote redevelopment of marginal stores to bigger, to larger, more relevant uses. Encourage the mix of hospitality, retail, and entertainment. There's nothing in here that would be considered funding for the casino. And I think the council has made that clear. This is not to be utilized for any casino development. It's to be used for other developments. The funding, the reason the casino land is still in there is to be able to take advantage of tax increment generated by that casino to use it throughout the area. City wishes to continue to maintain the high profile retail and hotel uses that have served the community for a while. So the strategies on the next one, the TIF designation allows the integration of the future casino development into an existing overall commercial landscape. The will help solidify the Fountain Square area as a regional retail and entertainment cluster. And that's important because we're seeing that regional need to be extremely important in terms of attracting customers and to proactively monitor the retail performance in the area right now. The next slide. TIF designation is, as we said, pursuant to the comprehensive plan and the upcoming amendment. TIF designation is needed to address disincentives associated with the area. The TIF designation in particular, it serves to reposition and revitalize existing properties, provide long-term financial stability, and achieve the economic development goals of the city. If we go to the next one, and I'm going to ask Bob to specifically address the TIF district qualifying factors in this area. Robert.
Okay, thank you. If we could go to the next slide. Noel, thank you. Under state law, in order for a municipality to designate an area, there has to be some finding as it relates to either a blighted or an conservation area, improved areas. In this case, we are making the finding as it relates to a blighted area. And what that basically means is, Noel, if you want to move to the next slide, there's 13 factors, blighting factors that are identified under the TIF Act, and a minimum of 5 out of those 13 are required to be found within the proposed redevelopment area within the proposed TIF district. In this case, we identified 6. You could see them on that chart, and we'll go over them in summary fashion. There's more detail that was included in the eligibility report. But deterioration, inadequate utilities, deleterious land use or layout, lack of community planning, code violations, and excessive vacancies. And again, I think as Phil McKenna has pointed out, the requirement under the act is that you make an area-wide finding. Each and every parcel, I want to point out, does not have to qualify. These factors are present in some degree with some of the parcels not present, or only a few of them present on other parcels. Again, the key point under the act is the dispersion throughout the area. Noel, if we could go to the next slide, please. Deterioration as defined in the act relates to both site improvements and for building. And deterioration is either defined for site improvements, the presence of cracked pavement, potholes, loose pavement, weeds protruding through. And for site or for buildings or improvements, relates to presence of repairs or siding, other factors that are present from exterior review. Kane McKenna did a site survey of the area, also accompanied by photographs, and we found that out of the 50 or so parcels, 53 parcels that were present, 31 parcels or more than half exhibited some form of deterioration, either in the site improvements or in a number of the buildings. And again, the presence of the factor was found throughout the area. So deterioration was identified as the first factor. The second factor, we go to the next slide, relates to inadequate utilities. And this is both prospective and existing. It looks to if there's insufficient capacity to serve uses within the RPA, again, both present as well as future. And from what our review of this area in concert with the city's engineers and public works department, indicated that many of the utilities infrastructure are older. They were developed even prior to the old Lakehurst Mall. As we move forward, a good part of the area represents about 28 acres in the center, which is undeveloped heretofore, and any future development, which would increase either density or change uses within the area, would necessitate at minimum stormwater management upgrades or reconstruction in order to handle future development. Again, given the size of the redevelopment in the center of the property, as well as ancillary uses to the west and to the south, we would expect relocation of existing utilities such as gas, electric, and communications that might have an impact on future development of the site. So this factor, again, this was present throughout a good part of the redevelopment project area. The third slide, as it relates to deleterious land use or layout. And again, this was, found to be area wide. As the area really developed piecemeal, and you could look at the, ages of the structures, there's like 3 layers. Some of the initial older buildings were 30 to 40 years plus in terms of their age, and those are concentrated primarily at the north and at the west end. There's a second layer of buildings, commercial buildings, 10 to 15 years in age, and they're interspersed throughout the both central and south area. And in the last 5 years, there's been development along 43. Those are some of the newer buildings. So there's been a layering. As a result of that, and some of the piecemeal uses, again, some of the older uses were larger. There's still some vestiges of older industrial, large boxes to medium boxes to the west side of the TIF. There has to be more planning as it relates to coordinated circulation, especially if there's going to be new uses over and above what's there now. So future development would require integration to the built up uses that are present. Fourth factor is a lack of community planning. And this relates to some of the, again, the age of when initial structures were built prior to somewhere about a quarter up, built before 87 comprehensive plan. And as the new plan is adopted, again, there's more focus on some both retail as a retail node and entertainment or commercial uses that hadn't been present in the 87 plan. So from the standpoint of, again, both circulation, some of the infrastructure, and categorized by different lot sizes that you see, again, a lot smaller, narrower lots on the east side, larger lots in the center, and a combination of medium and small lots to the north and to the west. Fifth factor relates to code violations. And again, this is a combination. There are some existing code violations as it relates to the, oh, no, thanks, Noel. As it relates to some of the buildings, primarily former Child World Storage has been closed for a long time and is the recipient of significant violations over the years. There's also a sprinkling in some of the properties of ongoing code violations. Some have been corrected, some have not. And the larger concern is as it relates to the city's adoption of the International Building Code, which was brought to bear in 2016. About 25, almost a little more than half of the structures were built before that code came in. And this would be an ongoing process as buildings come in for either rehab or any reconstruction. There would have to be a case-by-case review as it relates to conformance with the new code. There may be minor requirements in some cases, more extensive than others, but it is a case where the buildings, again, some of the older buildings will have conformance issues going forward in the future. And last is excessive vacancies. What we looked at here was primarily the commercial buildings. We excluded the hotels, the self-storage facility, and looked at the retail commercial. And we found that varying degrees of vacancies existed. About 17% of the structures exhibited either partial or total vacancies. Again, similar to the former Child World store, but also some of the banquet facility and some of the retail facilities up at the north end have exhibited ongoing vacancies over the years. So to summarize, the Act requires 5 factors to be present. We identified 6. And again, this was a summary. We had a little more detail in the eligibility report. That would conclude our review on the eligibility. Phil, did you want me to go over the TIF plan, or you wanted to follow up on that
No,
summary?
you got the mic and you're well spoken.
Oh, thank you. The eligibility report is part of the TIF plan. That's really an exhibit that identifies the basis for the city's designation of the area with the identification of the TIF eligibility factors. The TIF plan itself, which is the main document, I want to point out it's a plan, but it's not like a comprehensive plan or entitlement. It's focused more on financing. Any development that occurs within that redevelopment project area would go concurrent with the city's normal planning processes, which include the requisite public hearings, staff review, zoning review, et cetera. The TIF plan is an adjunct. It would primarily go alongside any redevelopment planning, and it would be utilized for financing, capturing any new tax increment for some of the things to be financed in the budget. So if we go to the next slide, Noel, again, it's a highlight from the TIF plan, which is about 40 pages in length. The proposed land uses are commercial, retail, entertainment, and mixed use. Again, the emphasis, as Mr. McKenna pointed out, is on retail, commercial within this area in conformance with the Southwest TIF plan or Southwest TIF area. The budget, and again, this is a large number, but it's over a 23-year period, and it's sized to include contingencies. So it's 180 million, and again, it's sized to include potential development. Any funding of this budget is dependent upon increment that is received by the city as well as ultimately review by the city and approval by the city council. The base CAV is to be confirmed by Lake County. This was an estimate based on current 2019 data. And this is the amount that current taxes would be levied against, 22,768,893. Any increase over that amount accrues to the TIF special allocation fund. And again, an estimate, and this is based on market factors to be realized, as well as other assumptions relating to size and density of development, is projected to be 90 million to 100 million over at the end of the 23-year period. But again, that is contingent on a number of factors, including the type of development. If we go to the next slide, Noel. The TIF Act requires the city to put together a best guesstimate of the budget. These line items are set forth under the TIF Act. We try to be, again, comprehensive here. It doesn't mean the city will utilize money for all of these items, but if you don't have them in the plan, you can't spend on it. So as a result, you would shoot high here, identify the full list of improvements from the TIF Act. And again, we go, each of the line items includes also a contingency over the period of time in which the TIF is in play. And it includes, again, land acquisition, assembly, demolition, site preparation, infrastructure and roadway, public facilities improvements, including transportation related costs, and roadway improvements, rehabilitation for existing buildings and businesses, interest costs. And these are interest rate rebate, again, for local businesses or businesses within the TIF. Planning, our soft costs, job training. Again, there's two ways under the act that could be funded through either private business generated training programs or through local community college or high school vocational training. And the last item, we don't expect residential, but again, the idea of it being comprehensive, that line was included as well. And the city, if we go to the next slide, Noel, the city does have the ability to shift items between these line items.
Give me just a second.
Sure. And it covers, as I said before, it's a large number, but it covers 23 years. There's some flexibility as it relates to the line items. And again, the normal city approval process as it relates to both any redevelopment agreements or expenditure of funds are present here. The TIF Act does not detract from those powers. And last but not least, I'll go to the last slide. We're about halfway through the process. The public hearing is scheduled for November 23rd. In that case, at that date, I should say, no action would be taken by the city. The public hearing is solely to get public input, and there's a cooling off period, a minimum of 14 days, not more than 90 days, to finally adopt the ordinances if the city is in the mind to do so. Once the ordinances are adopted, they've been filed with the Lake County Clerk. Thank you.
All right. So that went through item 6, the TIF plan. Do we have the TIF eligibility criteria? You went through that. So, item 7, review of draft TIF ordinances.
Madam Chairman, can I jump in for just a second?
Yes.
The phone line for public comment has been made live. So I want to announce that number quickly and give people a chance to call in. The phone number for anybody in the public who's watching our live stream and would like to comment is 847-856-6412. That's 847-856-6412. I'm monitoring that line, and if we receive any comments, I'll hold them until the public comment period. I will note that our live stream lags by 20 to 30 seconds, so we'll pause a little extra long, longer than we might in a face-to-face meeting, just to make sure that we allow the public time to comment. Thanks for letting me interrupt.
Oh, no problem. So item 7, review of draft TIF.
That's my responsibility, Madam Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you.
The act The act requires 3 ordinances to be passed by the city council following the recommendation and the tender of your report. The first of which is a plan or an ordinance adopting the plan and the approving the basic redevelopment project. So the idea here is to encapsulate what it is that Mr. Rishlicki and Mr. McKenna just went through as far as what the overall plan is going forward and how it's going to work and what the parameters of the redevelopment are intended to be. The second ordinance that is adopted, that would have to be adopted, is to establish the area of the redevelopment area itself. That is the geographical layout of the part that's encompassed within the TIF district itself. And the third ordinance is to adopt the financing that actually establishes the tax base and tax increment and tells the county clerk and the county treasurer how to collect the money and apply the increment and put it into the separate bucket for the use of for the project in the redevelopment area and plan. You should have, I believe we've provided you with drafts of those ordinances. They are formulaic. They look a lot like if you've ever dealt with TIFs before, and I believe most of you, if not all of you, have. They look a lot alike because they're generic in format. What is different about them in particular is this scope, this specific scope of the project and the development plan. That is unique to each one of these TIFs, no matter where you are.
All you have, Mr. Long?
That's what I have. I'll take any questions anybody has to.
All right, item 8 is questions. Are there any questions? And I know we have to wait, you said about 20 seconds for questions. Noel?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So I just want to call out a couple things. We have public comment. We have public comment from board members or comment from board members and prior written comments. So if we can go through each individually and maybe start by asking Noelle if she received any prior written comments from anyone regarding the JRB.
We have not received any prior written public comment at the email address that was posted publicly on the agenda.
Thank you. And then, Madam Chair, if we could start with any comments from the board, and then when we have exhausted all comments from the board, proceed to any comments from the public received either, received through the call-in number, or if someone got on the Zoom for some reason.
All right. Are there any questions from anyone on the board?
I don't have any questions, but I have a prepared statement I would read if this is the appropriate time to do so.
Go ahead, Mr. Hartnett.
Thank you. This is on behalf of Warren Township, School District 50 and District 121. Those entities submit this memorandum as a formal objection against the proposed Fountain Square TIF redevelopment project area district submitted by the city of Waukegan to the Joint Review Board. The proposed Fountain Square TIF district fails to meet the statutory requirements to establish a TIF district pursuant to the Illinois Tax Increment Allocation Redevelopment Act. Further, the burden on taxpayers, the township, School District 50, and District 121 as a whole resulting from the proposed TIF district outweighs any speculative benefit outlined in the proposal. The area designated in the proposed TIF district does not meet the statutory requirements set forth by the act to be considered a blighted area. Specifically, the study conducted by Kane McKenna and Associates fails to provide sufficient evidence demonstrating that the designated property meets the requisite 5 out of 13 factors provided in the act. Second, the proposed Fountain Square redevelopment plan does not satisfy the but-for test as required by the act. Lastly, the plan does not clearly indicate that all portions of the redevelopment plan take place within the TIF district, and it includes areas outside of the city boundaries. The act provides that a municipality may designate a TIF district if there are conditions causing the area to be classified as a blighted area, a conservation area, or a combination of the two. The act distinguishes between blighted improved and blighted vacant areas and provides for varying factors that the property must satisfy to be designated as such. The study indicates that the city seeks to qualify the proposed TIF district as a blighted improved area. To be considered as such, the act provides that the property must meet 5 of 13 qualifying factors. While the study claims that 6 of these qualifying factors have been met, the evidence fails to substantiate these claims. Further, the speculation and general statements within the study fall short of providing concrete or satisfactory proof that the designated property in the proposed TIF should be considered blighted. I will now consider and dispute each of these factors in turn. Number 1, deterioration of site improvements and structures. The study claims that deterioration can be found throughout the designated property. However, there is no evidence that this deterioration goes beyond the routine disrepair common to many communities. The study provides general descriptions of deterioration, such as the need to paint or repair some buildings or faded door awnings. However, the Township, School District 50, and District 121 do not think that these minor examples rise to the level of deterioration that would qualify the proposed TIF district as blighted. 2, excessive vacancies. Study alleges that there are excessive vacancies on the property and specifically states that almost 17% of the retail or service buildings in the area are at least partially vacant. However, this is a misrepresentation of the reality. According to the study, a portion of that percentage is a result of partial vacancies in multi-tenant buildings. Otherwise, there are only 3 retail or service buildings that are actually vacant, resulting in a 9% vacancy rate. This falls within the typical commercial real estate industry standard, 5 to 10%. Further, there are 39 buildings in the proposed TIF district in total. Thus, even if partial vacancies are considered, the vacancy percentage is approximately 12%, still far less than the percentage represented in the study. 3, lack of community planning. The act provides that if an area was developed prior to or without the benefit of a community plan, then the designated property will satisfy this factor. The city's last comprehensive plan was adopted in 1987, and the city anticipates the adoption of a new comprehensive plan in 2020. While the study claims that much of the designated property was developed without the guidance of the plan, approximately 75% of the structures were developed after 1987. While the study attempts to substantiate this claim with an illustration of development in a piecemeal fashion after the closure of the former mall, such development did in fact take place under a plan, specifically the 1987 Comprehensive Plan. Further, according to the study, the city adopted the Gateway Overlay District zoning regulations in 2003. This indicates that there is already an alternate community plan in place, further reducing the need for a new TIF district. 4, code violations. While the study alleges that the buildings within the proposed TIF district do not meet current building codes, there is no specific evidence provided to support this allegation. The study simply states that because many of the structures were built prior to the adoption of the 2012 International Building Code, quote, many aspects of these buildings may not meet all the requirements of the City of Waukegan Code, end quote. The study goes on to point out 2 specific buildings that do not meet code, specifically the former Child World Toy Store and the Lakehurst Multi-Event Space. However, the study does not point to any specific code violations or official reports of such, merely referencing that the city's building commissioner has reported such. This mere speculation of code violations does not satisfy this factor and thus cannot be considered among the requisite 5 needed to be considered a blighted improved area pursuant to the act. 5, inadequate utilities. The study claims that the proposed TIF district is blighted due to inadequate utilities. However, the study fails to provide any clear evidence of such. Specifically, the study simply states that the utilities and streets were built around 1970, maintained by the former Lakehurst Mall, and then taken over by the city in 2004. This is not evidence of inadequacy, but merely of age. Further, the study goes on to say that there will need to be an analysis of the current and estimated stormwater discharge to determine the respective stormwater management improvements for each development parcel. Again, this is not evidence of inadequate utilities, but rather speculation that such utilities may be found inadequate. As such, this cannot be considered among the factors contributing to the blighted improved area status pursuant to the act. 6, deleterious layout. The act provides that there is deleterious layout when there are incompatible land use relationships, buildings occupied by inappropriate mixed uses, or uses that are noxious, offensive, or unsuitable for the surrounding area. The proposed TIF district does not meet this description. The study correctly provides that the predominant land use in the proposed TIF district is commercial, retail, and hotel use. The only evidence that the study provides as an incompatible land use relationship is a multi-building, multi-family residential apartment complex. Again, the study does not indicate how this is incompatible with the surrounding commercial uses within the proposed TIF district. Mere differences in the use of various buildings on the property should not equate to incompatibility. The study then goes on to say that the comprehensive plan, quote, provides for integrating future casino development, end quote, but does not demonstrate how this would prove to be a compatible use while other commercial, retail, and hotel uses are not currently considered as such. Summarily, the evidence provided in the study simply does not rise to the level of a blighted improved area. Much of the reasoning provided as a basis for the blighted status of the proposed TIF district in the study is overbroad, generalized, and based on speculation. As such, the proposed Fountain Square TIF district does not meet the requisite 5 out of 13 factors to be eligible for a TIF designation. Second, the act provides that no redevelopment plan may be adopted unless the municipality makes a finding that quote, the redevelopment project area on the whole has not been subject to growth and development through investment by private enterprise and would not reasonably be anticipated to be developed or redeveloped without the adoption of the redevelopment plan, end quote. This is known as the but-for requirement when establishing a TIF district and accompanying redevelopment plan, and provides that a municipality must demonstrate that no development would occur absent TIF incentives. The city has failed to provide sufficient evidence that a TIF incentive is the only way to spur development in the proposed TIF district. The first clear indication that the plan fails the but-for test is that this area was a designated TIF district before and recently expired. If the TIF district were the only way to spur development in this designated area, then the area would have been developed during the first TIF term. However, by proposing a new TIF district in the same area, the city is indicating that the TIF was not previously an effective tool for redevelopment. Taking this into consideration, the plan does not explain how this particular TIF district would address or overcome the apparent shortcomings of the first TIF. If a TIF district did not spur redevelopment during the first term, the Township, District 50, and District 121 cannot fully support a second 23-year term. Additionally, the plan refers to a potential casino and the integration of a casino into the proposed Fountain Square TIF. Specifically, one of the designated redevelopment strategies of the city is to, quote, integrate future casino development into existing commercial landscape, end quote. Some of the other redevelopment strategies include solidifying the area as a regional retail cluster and developing relationships with commercial retail brokers. However, the plan does not fully demonstrate that these strategic goals are impossible without the TIF district. Further, if the possibility of a casino in the area is more than mere speculation, development could be spurred absent the implementation of a new TIF district. It is worth noting that the city has not provided sufficient evidence to indicate to the Township, District 50, and District 121 that the proposed redevelopment plan will reduce unemployment, create new jobs, and enhance the tax base as required by the Act. Further, the Township, District 50, and District 121 are opposed to the city exercising authority outside of its geographic boundaries. While the proposed Fountain Square TIF district is located within the city's incorporated boundaries, the study and the initial study area indicate that much of the proposed redevelopment area may be outside of the municipality. Specifically, the original study area for the proposed TIF district included the cloverleaf at I-94 and Illinois Route 120. The proposed Fountain Square TIF district and the accompanying plan do not indicate how the TIF funds could be used to improve these roadways. However, the plan refers to the need for, quote, coordinated traffic and roadway improvements and roadway projects, end quote. While the plan does not make specific references to improvements outside of the TIF district, it is worth noting that the Act requires that a redevelopment project area is limited to the designated TIF area as well as contiguous parcels of land. Illinois courts have interpreted contiguity to mean that the land must, quote, touch or join one another in a reasonably substantial physical sense, quoting Henry County Board versus Village of Orion, 278 Illap 3rd, 1058. In Henry County Board, the court determined that the village improperly used streets as strips joining parcels to one another. Even if the proposed Fountain Square TIF could meet the statutory requirements, there are policy considerations which demonstrate the burden the proposed TIF would create substantially outweighs any potential speculative benefit. First, the Township, District 50, and District 121 are concerned over the number of TIF districts that the city has created and currently maintains, and the potential adverse impact resulting from an additional TIF district. The city currently has 4 TIF districts: North Lakefront, downtown Harborfront and South Beach, South Lakefront, and McGaw Park. The overuse of TIFs ties up the tax base. Too much revenue from new growth gets diverted and thus becomes unavailable to fund basic government services. While the tax base is leveled out, the cost of government services inevitably increases and taxing authorities are stretched beyond their means. As a result, tax increases may be necessary, creating an additional burden on taxpayers. Summarily, TIFs should only be used sparingly and after thoughtful consideration of alternative finance methods. Additionally, in its objection, the Township, District 50, and District 121 seek to avoid the direct negative impact that the proposed Fountain Square TIF will have on affected taxing authority, and particularly school districts. On average, approximately 22% of local property tax revenue goes to municipalities. The remaining 78% goes to other governmental authorities, with the majority of this revenue going to school districts. Schools are consistently the biggest losers when TIF districts are created because revenues that would otherwise be provided to the schools is diverted elsewhere. Incremental tax revenues that would have occurred in the absence of a TIF district cannot be captured by school districts, resulting in financial hardship. The creation of an additional TIF district atop the 4 already in existence will only tighten the financial squeeze. By proposing the Fountain Square TIF, the city is asking school districts and other taxing authorities to cope with a stagnant tax base for up to 23 years. The Township, District 50, and District 121 believe that there are alternatives that can be sought rather than placing the burden on the schools and the taxpayers who send their children there. There are also disclosure and accountability concerns regarding the city's existing TIFs and the proposed Fountain Square TIF. TIFs do not inherently promote public oversight, transparency, or accountability. As far as the Township, District 50, and District 121 can determine, the city does not post annual TIF reports for the existing TIFs on the city's website. If such information has been posted, it is not clearly or easily accessible from the city's website. The information provided for existing TIFs seems to be limited to a drawing of each of the properties. While the city has published the Fountain Square TIF proposal, the proposal and accompanying report are vague and do not provide taxpayers with a clear picture of how revenue generated from the proposed TIF district will be used. The history of non-disclosure creates further skepticism of the implementation of a new TIF district. Lastly, the benefits of TIF adoption are speculative and uncertain at best. TIFs are inherently a gamble premised on speculation. There's no guarantee that a TIF will generate economic growth, and it is entirely possible that the significant economic growth would occur without the TIF. A poorly designed TIF may become nothing more than a generous subsidy to undeserving developers and corporations who may have nonetheless proceeded with projects regardless of the TIF incentive. Municipalities have a number of tools that may be used to generate development. Implementation of a TIF district is only one of these tools. The city has failed to present or consider viable alternatives to the proposed Fountain Square TIF. As a result, there's no indication that a TIF district would be the best option with the least burdensome consequences for taxpayers. The Township, District 50, and District 121 encourage the city to develop and present other alternatives to achieve the goals set out by the proposed TIF. The proposed TIF may be defective or undesirable for other reasons, and this objection is not limited to the reasons outlined above. Township, District 50, and District 121 reserve the right to identify other problems with or objections to the proposed plan. Further, other taxing authorities have likely identified other issues. Due to the statutory and policy reasons described herein, the Township, District 50, and District 121 are obligated to vote against the proposed Fountain Square TIF redevelopment plan. The Township, District 50, and District 121 reserve the right to challenge the legality of the proposed TIF upon further advance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hartman. Are there any more questions? Noel, did you receive anything? Call in?
I have not received any calls. Let me announce the number one more time if you don't mind, and then you can take whatever questions you'd like. The public call-in number again is 847-856-6412. Again, 847-856-6412. Thank you.
Waukegan Park District, what year was the last TIF resolved in this area? I believe it was like 3 years.
It was dissolved in 2014.
This
Which
is
was early.
Lori Casey from Woodland District 50. How much will each of the taxing bodies forego over a 23-year period based on a TIF for the casino alone? I don't know if you have that answer today, but.
Yeah,
This is Phil, and I can give at least a partial answer. I mean, recall that the casino itself is not receiving any benefits. we did do a chart that sought to identify the base equalized assessed valuation as a percentage of each taxing district. I think the city has that, but I can highlight it here. The largest burden is actually to the Waukegan Park District. It's 1.76%. That is the total equalized assessed valuation in the area currently is 1.76% of the total Park District EAV. Several of the other ones are in the 1 to 2 category. And then there's several, obviously, the county and College of Lake County, for which it's 0.08 or 0.09 of the overall tax base of the area.
Do you know what Woodland and Thorn is?
Sorry.
Do you know what
I
Woodland?
didn't hear that. I'm having trouble picking up the question.
Woodland District 50. Yeah, Woodland School District 50, their number is 1.34%.
Woodland School District 50 is 1.34%. It's to make sure that the base equalized assessed valuation is 22.7 million. We have the 2019 EAV for the district at 1,692,000. 1,692,000, I should say.
And one more question. How much tax revenue will the casino contribute to the school district during this TIF?
I don't have an answer to that.
Okay. Thank you.
Repeat the Park District's number again. We're only 7% of the tax bill on 2018's number. What would the impact be for the Park District?
Again, the base equalized assessed valuation is 22.7 million. I have is the total EAV for the Park District, 1,295,000. That sound right for a correct overall EAV?
And the percentage is calculated as the basis part of the total. That's where the percentage comes from.
So it's 1.76%.
All right, are there any more questions? We will move to item 9, consideration of recommendation to City Council.
Chairman Newsom, may I address Waukegan Township, one of their comments that they made about the reporting? This is Tina Smigelski. I'm the finance director with the City of Waukegan. I just wanted to point out that the annual reports, the drafts that are attached to the Joint Review Board meeting that would be held right after this one, those are presented to the Joint Review Boards in draft form every year, and then they are uploaded to the State Comptroller's website as is required by state law. All of the TIF reports are available through the State Comptroller's website, which is the legally required repository for that information. We also post our comprehensive annual financial report, in layman's terms that would be called our audit, that is available on the city's website. I believe we have over a decade of those posted, and those do include the individual financial statements for each of the TIF districts. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
And Madam Chairman, if I may address one of the legal issues that Mr. Hartman raised.
Yes, Mr. Long.
Mr. Hartman, you cited the Henry County case, and what that case really held was something very different than what we're proposing in this particular instance. That case, it was an attempt by a taxing district to establish a TIF that was found to be non-contiguous because it tried to use strip annexation through non-contiguous properties. It's not what we're proposing here. What we're proposing here is to utilize resources off-site as an adjunct to funneling people essentially to this site. So if you look at 65 ILCS 5/11-74.4-4, you'll find in subsections C, D, E, F, and G, the primary powers that the municipality that intends to adopt a TIF has. And if you'll notice, C, D, E, and G all start with the same phrase, which is within a redevelopment project area. And then it lays out the specific powers that the municipalities have in those particular areas. And those powers are, in fact, as a result of that language, limited to areas inside the redevelopment project area itself. But if you look at section F, subsection F, it says it does not have that limiting language. Instead, it says install, repair, construct, reconstruct, or relocate streets, utilities, and site improvements essential to the preparation of the redevelopment area for use in accordance with a redevelopment plan. So what that says is that the legislature has not specifically limited the powers of the municipality to act within the boundaries of the TIF district for those purposes of streets and utilities. Just as a water line or a sewer line might be necessary in order to be connected up to something off-site, whether it's to a well or to a big pipeline for Lake Michigan or to the north, to the sanitary district, in order to make development possible. It is also just as important to have utilities in the form of a road that can get people to and from the to the site and effectively make transportation much simpler. In particular, we're looking at the cloverleaf issue on the 294 road. Now, there will be other benefits from that to the surrounding areas and ease transportation in Lake County generally, which sounds like to us like a good thing. But in particular, it's somewhat difficult to find your way from Wisconsin and from the northern suburbs, and let alone the western suburbs, to this particular site that would be much easier if it had a cloverleaf. And that's really where the basis of this comes from. So the utilization of the powers is allowed under the statute, and the Henry case is just quite easily distinguishable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Long.
Madam Chairman, may I make one more comment before we move on?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. We have received no phone calls from the public with comments for this particular meeting. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we're going to move along to item 9, consideration.
Wait, Chairman, may I ask another question? I'm sorry. This is Lori Casey from Woodland District 50 again. What's the proposed new construction cost for the casino? Do we know?
No, it depends. We have had proposals that range from roughly 100 million to a couple of $100 million, but it depends a lot on and that information was based on what the public presentations were before the city council when the city was considering its certification of the casino bidders to the Illinois Gaming Board a little over a year ago. The gaming board has to make a determination as to which one of those bidders it's going to, if any, it decides is worthy of a license, and that's a process that's ongoing, and we don't have any direct control, nor do we even have any information on at the present time. But that's basically the range.
Okay, so was that included in the presentation or no? I might have missed it.
In which presentation?
No, it was not, and it would be outside the subject matter of this presentation, quite frankly. This presentation is a body of limited jurisdiction. And I'm just here essentially to facilitate this and make sure that the procedural requirements are met, but it is a body of limited jurisdiction. All comments will be taken. All public questions will be placed into the record, but the construction of a collateral matter is not necessarily relevant to the determination of whether eligibility factors exist.
And
if anybody objects to that, please feel free. If anybody disagrees, please speak.
If I may add to what Mr. Vasselli just said, the gaming board considered, the statute that allows this particular casino was adopted in June of 2019. And the only casino, it laid out 5 casinos throughout the state. Chicago's is mired down, and because they found it was economically infeasible. So that one isn't going anywhere for the time being, and they're having to reconfigure it. So demonstrates a level of speculation that's involved in trying to figure out what hypothetical value there might be on the property. And the second casino in Danville was the only other one that's been ruled on so far, and the gaming board rejected the certifications and sent it back to the city, to their city council. So again, that is speculative. We don't know that they will in fact award a license to anybody at this particular point in time. So, you know, while we have a range, it is at best nothing more than an indicator of some value. Assuming, making some rather large leaps in assumptions, because the one thing that is certain is that Waukegan has been looking for this casino for somewhere in the area of 30 years, and it ain't there yet.
All right, thank you. Okay, are we ready to move to item 9? Consideration of recommendation to City Council recommending the approval of the redevelopment plan and project for the city's proposed TIF District Number 11, Fountain Square. So will I be entertaining a roll call, or are you going to do that, Mr. Faselli?
I think we need a motion and a second to go forward.
Okay, who would like to make the motion to move forward?
Motion by Kyle.
Lake County.
Second.
And is there a second?
Second by Public Member Matthews.
There is a motion and a second. Any comments on the proposal on the table?
I don't know if it's a comment about the proposal, but the written statement seems like you guys did a lot of research to school districts. First time on this TIF board, voting for a new one. Maybe next time you can reach out to our other board members and share your thoughts ahead of time. I thought it was good information, just to be more prepared for the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions, comments, or concern with regards to the recommendation and consideration to go forward with the redevelopment plan and project for the city's proposed TIF District Number 11? Okay. Madam Chair, do you want to call the roll or do you want me to call the roll?
You can call the roll, sir.
City of Waukegan,
Aye.
Warren Township High School,
Absolutely no.
Waukegan Park District,
Dane.
College of Lake County,
Yes.
Warren Township, Park
No.
District. Oh, I'm sorry, Warren Township. I'm sorry, Warren Township. School District 50,
No.
public member,
An enthusiastic yes.
and Lake County.
Yes.
So that is 3. Nate, what's the call?
Excuse me, you broke up.
1 abstain and 4 ayes.
I think we may have lost Mr. Vaselli, but my record is the same.
I'm
as
sorry, yeah, hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was 4 ayes and what? 1 abstention?
And 2 nays, yes.
And how many nays? 2?
2.
3.
3?
3.
3 nays.
Did you vote, Madam Chairman?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay.
Aye.
thank you. I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, I did. Okay,
Hello?
so that, excuse me, Mr. Vaselli? Were you speaking?
Hello?
You're kind of breaking up.
It would appear the motion passed.
Motion carried. All right, item 10, review of timetable and next steps.
I can do that. The public hearing is scheduled for November 23rd. Notice has been posted. Will be, all the property owners in the area and the taxing districts are notified. City elected officials will then have up to 14 days after the public hearing to consider any comments made at the hearing or submitted to the clerk beforehand. And then within 14, not less than 14 or more than 90 days after the public hearing, the ordinances can be considered for adoption. So that's expected to be probably around the end of the year, I think.
All right, thank you, Mr. McKenna.
I apologize, my internet, I literally had an unstable connection.
All right, thank you, sir. If there's nothing else, can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Motion by Lake County Angelo Kyle, second. Everybody want to stay on?
Second,
Was that Mr. Hartman?
yes.
Second by Mr. Hartman. We are adjourned.
Can we take a roll call vote just to be
Yes,
sure
can we do?
that we
Oh, okay.
cover Open Meetings Act? And everybody,
We-
please do stay on because we have annual meetings for TIF 10 immediately following.
Okay, Mr. Fascelli, can you do the roll or can you do it, Noel?
I'd be glad to. City Member Newsom,
Aye.
Warren Township High School Member Engel,
No.
to adjourn.
Yes to adjourn.
We'll see you in a minute on the next meeting. Waukegan Park District Member Beckman to adjourn.
Yes.
College of Lake County Member Gotch to adjourn.
Yes.
Woodland District 50 Member Casey to adjourn.
Yes.
Lake County Member Kyle to adjourn.
Yes.
Warren Township Member Hartman to adjourn.
Yes.
Public Member Matthews to adjourn.
Yes.
Thank you all.
All right. All righty. We're gonna
Thank you
stop.
very much, folks.
Yes, thank you. We can take a brief break if anybody needs one before we reconvene for the annual meeting for TIF number 10. Kane McKenna, folks, we appreciate you being here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
I'll be dropping off too. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
I apologize to the members of the Joint Review Board. Literally, my internet went unstable
No problem.
at the end of it, so I do apologize.
No problem.
It happens.
Thanks for hanging in there. We have a pause slide up on our live stream right now, but when everybody's back, then I'll let Mike on video know that we're ready to go and we'll reconvene.
Okay.
As a resident, would you mind if we turn off your video? On this either, but we'll open the phone line. It's a little bit of a technical challenge with the phone line today because it's a landline in City Hall. And with City Hall getting closed unexpectedly this morning, IT has been working with me all day to get it to transfer to my desk phone, which then twins on my cell phone so that I can answer it here in my living room on my cell phone and put it on speaker on the meeting if anybody does call. So it's jumping a little bit, but it works. We tested it and it worked just fine. So.
Did you chew gum and walk at the same time too while doing that, or?
I have not tried. Thank goodness for
Alliance, Jerry. Thank you, Noel, and thank you, Madam Alderman. If you give me 1 second, thank you. So, welcome to the Joint Review Board meeting for the City of Waukegan for TIF District Number 11, or I'm sorry, 10, McGaw Park TIF. The JRB is a special meeting required under the TIF Act and the Industrial Jobs Recovery Law for the purposes of reviewing TIF Act compliance and reviewing activity within each TIF district during the prior fiscal year. On behalf of the city, I'll now call this to order. This meeting of the City of Waukegan Joint Review Board, for the proposed Waukegan TIF District Number 10 is called to order as of 3:31 p.m. For the record, we have made all applicable postings in accordance with law. Thank you. I'll call the roll. College of Lake County.
Here.
School District 50.
Here.
City of Waukegan.
Present.
Waukegan Park District.
Here.
Warren Township High School.
Present.
Warren Township.
Here.
Lake County.
Present.
As we all know, the first act of a joint review board is to appoint a public member. Are there any nominations? For the record, Mr. Anton Matthews was our prior public member for the same composed body.
I nominate Mr. Matthews.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Mr. Matthews resume his services as public member to the Joint Review Board. This time for TIF District Number 10. Are there any questions or comments with regards to that nomination? Seeing none, I will call the roll. College of Lake County.
Yes.
School District 50.
Yes.
City of Waukegan.
Aye.
Waukegan Park District.
Yes.
Warren Township High School.
Yes.
Warren Township.
Yes.
Lake County, Illinois.
Yes.
Mr. Matthews, congratulations again. You are the public member. Our second action is the appointment of a chair to the Joint Review Board for TIF District Number 10. Are there any nominations? For the
Yeah.
record, the city is generally, go on, Mr. Matthews.
I'll let you finish.
Oh, the city is generally the chair. And in our last proceeding, the city served so as the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Vasili. I'd like to nominate Alderman Edith Newsom.
There's a nomination on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
The nomination of the city member has been moved and seconded. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, I'll call the roll. College of Lake County.
Yes.
School District 50.
Yes.
City.
Aye.
Park District. Park District. I'm sorry, I did.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Warren Township High School.
Yes.
Warren Township.
Yes.
Public member.
Yes.
Lake County.
Yes.
Madam Chair, congratulations. You are again, Madam Chair, for TIF District Number 10.
All right, thank you, sir. We'll move to item 4, review of the JRB procedures. And you had kind of spoke about that a little bit already.
Yes, again, and I will be brief. Again, the Joint Review Board is a board of limited jurisdiction, and it is one in this case where we review the activity in a TIF district. This is a compliance matter and not one for the inauguration certification of a new TIF district, but it's just reviewing what activity went on the TIF. We will proceed in the same manner where we will have a presentation, a fine presentation by the City of Waukegan, where we'll go through these activity reports, which are called annual TIF reports. The annual TIF reports, upon approval, are then submitted to the Office of the State Comptroller, where they are reviewed and posted on file on the internet as well, or available for public inspection. I know because I used to have to hand them out. Madam Chair, is that sufficient?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And I'll go on mute now.
Okay, Ms. Smigelski, are you gonna take over from here or Noel?
I'll defer to Noel, but however she'd like to proceed.
Yes, please, Tina. You go ahead.
Okay, can everyone see the draft report?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is the draft report that is completed annually. Sherry Martinez, who's also on the Zoom today, is the one that fills these out for us on an annual basis. And as you can see, this is on a standard form for the State Comptroller's Office. TIF 10 is what we call the McGaw Business Center TIF. It was established January 1st, 2015. The first page just explains some of the criteria that require this report. And the beginning fund balance for TIF 10 as of May 1st, 2019 was negative $14,965. The receipts for the current fiscal year were 1.8 million in property taxes, 11,000 in interest income. The cumulative receipts year life to date of the TIF is almost 4.8 million at this point. So with the activity that we had this year, our fund balance ended at $144,000. And I'll go into a little bit of detail here on what the expenses were once my computer comes back to me. All right, there we go. Okay, so our expenses for the fiscal year included a legal invoice paid to Delgado Law Firm, which was for last year's JRB. We also had some legal work review done on our developer note that's outstanding with Bridge by our bond counsel, Miller Canfield. And those are reported here. And then some of our other expenses included our final payment to Warren Waukegan Fire Protection District. When a fire protection district we annexed this area, so under state statute, they do have the right to lost tax revenues on a declining basis over 5 years. So the final payment was made to them last fiscal year. And we also have an outstanding redevelopment agreement, a developer note with Bridge McGaw Redevelopment. They did certain reinvestments that were TIF eligible. We have a $40 million TIF note outstanding to them, and we paid them accrued interest up through the fiscal year of $1.6 million. And those are reported here again. Our outstanding obligation is that $40 million TIF note. It is also reported in the city's audited financial statements. To date, there's been $46 million of private investment made in this area. And we do have those listed here. This is based on building permits issued by the city of Waukegan. And then the final area to note, the base EAV for this district is 13 million. That was upon establishment. And the EAV at this point has grown to $49 million. Also included in the packet that's filed with the state comptroller is a certification from the CEO, which is the mayor, that we complied with the TIF Act. Corporation Counsel also issues a letter of compliance. We then have some activities here that's prepared by our planning department. I'll let Noelle take over this part if she would.
Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties with my microphone. Normally this is presented by one of my staff members, so bear with me that I'm not fully up to speed on every detail of it, but you can see that there were a number of building permits issued in this area as McGaw Park, the Bridgepoint North development has gone forward. It's near completion on construction, so we expect the building permit activity to slow down going forward. But this is the building permit activity in the last fiscal year.
And then finally, we have attached the audited financial statements. These are still showing in draft as the report does need to be accepted by this board. And then we also are awaiting the final issuance of our audited financial statements from Sickage. everybody's a little backlogged since everything was done remote. So we anticipate that happening soon, but this is the draft. We don't expect any changes. It will include the audit letter, which is something that's required by the state that will be signed. And then also the standard financial statements, our balance sheet, which ties back out to the report filed with the state comptroller's office. It shows our AP, cash, assets, etc. And then of course the income statement with the fund balance, the net fund balance of 144,000 at the end of the fiscal year. So that is our total report. I know it did come up in the last meeting and I just wanted to confirm because I did go look to make sure. We do file these with the state comptroller as required by state law. And if you go onto the illinoiscomptroller.gov website, there's a link called financial data. You can find a report. And from there, you can go to several different types of reports. One of those is local government TIF reporting. And the TIF reports from last fiscal year and the one before are posted and available on the state comptroller's website. If you are looking for reports for fiscal year 2017 or earlier, those also can be obtained from the state comptroller's website, but they have it in a different section. I forget what that's called, but the most recent reports are posted. So I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
May I add that this report is posted on the city's website under board docs where the agenda is publicly posted, and all the members received a link to that with the appointment for this meeting. So this report is posted there under this agenda item 5A.
Okay, if there's no questions, I'll stop sharing.
Are there any more no questions?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
again, not to overcomplicate the issue, but if we could, we have 3 rounds of public comment. One could be written questions submitted to the Director of Planning and Economic Development, then comments or questions from those members of the Joint Review Board, and then comments or questions from the general public, which now would include Mr. McKenna. As such, if we could just make sure, like, for example, Noel, do we have anything submitted in
We
writing?
do not have any written comments submitted. May I announce the phone number again?
Oh, please.
847-856-6412 for phone public comments right now. We'll receive those and I will announce if any calls come in. Thank you.
Thanks. Sorry, Madam Chair.
No problem. Are there any questions from the board members? All right. Will we move into the TIF 7 or?
One thing, Madam Chair, Noel, do we have any phone calls that have called in?
We do not yet. Could we wait about 10 more seconds to make sure that the live stream and the live phone catch up with each other?
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
Technology.
Yes, and I'll turn on my ringer so we can all hear it if it rings. Again, the number is 847-856-6412. Madam Chair, we have no public comment via the phone line.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Will we be moving right into TIF 7 or is there any other action we need to do on 10?
We need to do 2 things, Madam Chair, and thank you. Those are 2 excellent questions, or that's an excellent question. So number 1, we should motion to approve the annual TIF report and place it on file, sending it on way to passage. That should be the first action. And then we would motion to adjourn, allowing the people, the Warren Township people essentially to leave if they so choose. They are invited, of course. So the first thing, Madam Chair, would be a motion to approve, keep on file, and set on our way to passage to the Illinois State Comptroller's Office, the annual TIF report for TIF District number 10.
I entertain a motion.
So move. Kyle.
Second.
I'll second, College Lake County, Ken Gotch.
Moved and seconded. Any questions to the motion? Roll call, please.
College of Lake County,
Yes.
School District 50,
Yes.
City,
Yes.
Waukegan Park District,
Yes.
Warren Township High School,
Yes.
Lake County,
Yes.
Warren Township,
Yes.
and of course, Mr. Public Member.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries.
Motion carried. All right, I'll take a motion by Lake County Commissioner Kyle. Second by Mr. Hartman to adjourn. Are there any questions to that motion?
Oh, no, Madam Chair.
Roll call, please.
College of Lake County,
Yes.
School District 50,
Yes.
City,
Aye.
Park,
Yes.
High School,
Yes.
Lake County,
Yes.
Township,
Yes.
and Mr. Public Member.
Yes.
Motion carries. We stand adjourned. Thank you, Warren Township and related parties.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you all
you.
for being with us today. We appreciate your participation. Those of you who are with us for 7, 8, and 9, hang tight a minute, and we'll start those momentarily. It does take a little longer to do this all virtually.
Longer than in person?
Shockingly, yes. Though I have to say, the Zoom part for 10 went almost as quickly as it does in person. It's really the waiting for public comment that takes longer. I'm checking. I have lost my mouse on this computer, so I'm having to do everything touch screen. And it makes it just the tiniest bit more challenging here. Okay, we are live.
Okay.
We have not been joined by Waukegan Township or Waukegan School District 60, who are the other representatives that we would have on this JRB for all 3 remaining TIFs, 7, 8, and 9. So the members who are with us are the members.
So one thing, we all work for boards or on boards. The Joint Review Board is unlike any other board where literally the quorum could be 2 people. Actually, theoretically 1. The public member could be the chair. So we do not need to wait for anyone. I'd also like to put on the record that these were all properly posted, and they were posted for 2:20, 2:25, and 2:30. It is now 3:48 p.m. So ample time's been given. I just don't want anybody to think we're excluding anyone. We do have a legitimate quorum under the TIF laws. And we have given people opportunity to participate.
Yes, and if I can add to that, I did have confirmation of receipt of the invitation with the link to the meeting from both of those remaining districts. So I do know that they got it.
Well, I would suggest we move forward with this meeting because I don't want to tie up anybody's evening. You know,
Excellent.
we've been here since 2 o'clock, so whenever we can go live, let's go with, do we have to go through the public member and all that again?
Well, I can abbreviate. Yes, I can abbreviate any preamble. I will just put out there that I think the city's proposition would be that it's the same public member, and generally the city member serves as the chairperson or chairman of the Joint Review Board. So we are live on video, so we'll probably some boards would go through an omnibus vote, but as we are streaming and for the full transparency and disclosure, we could go through votes for each. But members of the Joint Review Board, please do note that we will probably be recommending the same public member and the same chair at each of the next 3, 7, 8, 9. And if you want, Madam Prior Chair, I can start off.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Sure. Welcome to the Joint Review Board for the meeting in the City of Waukegan for TIF District Number 7. The Joint Review Board is a special meeting required under the TIF Act and the Industrial Jobs Recovery Law for the purposes of reviewing TIF Act requirements and reviewing financial activity within each TIF district during the prior fiscal year. It is general prior to the selection of a chair. The meeting is called to order. It is called to order by the City of Waukegan for the proposed Waukegan, or the Waukegan TIF district, excuse me, number 7 at approximately 3:51 p.m. Introduction of representatives. For the roll call, please indicate your taxing district and name, or taxing district and name as applicable. College of Lake County,
Yes.
City Waukegan,
Aye.
Waukegan Park District,
Yes.
okay, thank you. Lake County,
Aye.
the first, thank you. And while we do have receipts from all other parties that could be a member of this Joint Review Board, they are not at this time participating. The first member, or the first step for a Joint Review Board to convene, is the selection of a public member. Are there any nominations for a public member?
I nominate Mr. Matthews, the public member.
Is there a
Park
second?
District seconds.
The nomination has been moved and seconded. Any questions, comments, and concerns? It's my understanding Mr. Matthews has a lot of experience being a public member. That being said, I will call the roll. College of Lake County,
Yes.
City,
Aye.
Park,
Yes.
Lake County.
Aye.
Mr. Matthews, congratulations, you are again the public member. The second step in the Joint Review Board is the selection of a chair. It is customary but not required that the city's member serve as a chair. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Alderman Eden Newsom as chair.
Nominations been
Second.
taken and been seconded. Thank you. Any questions, comments, or concern? Seeing none. College of Lake County,
Yes.
City,
Aye.
Park District,
Yes.
Lake County,
Aye.
public member.
Aye.
Madam Chair, congratulations.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, we're gonna go through the same agenda as Tina.
Cut over both eyes. No.
Is Tina gonna take over this one?
Tina, are you going to start and then turn it over to Noel?
Yes.
All right,
Excellent. Thank you.
go ahead.
Make sure I have the right one here. So TIF 7. And TIF 7 is our North Lakefront TIF. It was established January 1st, 2014. The property tax collections in this TIF for the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2020 was just under $96,000, which brings the cumulative property taxes collected in this TIF to $226,000. Our ending fund balance is $226,000 in this TIF as well. There was no spending out of this TIF for the fiscal year. So I'm going to go right to up. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, I heard beeping. Okay, so in this TIF district, since its inception, there's been $5.3 million in private investment, $3.4 million in public investment. And we have those listed there for your perusal at a later time. Let me slow down. I went too fast. We've included the certification from the mayor that we've complied with the TIF law for the year. Same from Corporation Council. And then here's an update on some of the building permit and other activity that took place in the TIF, if Noel would like to explain these a little bit.
I don't have anything in particular to add to these other than this is the building permit activity taking place. This is both at public and city-owned sites.
Then to our audited financial statements. And we anticipate to receive a clean opinion letter. Those will be issued shortly. Our assets, we have $226,000 in cash and equivalents at the end of the fiscal year. We anticipate property taxes collected in the subsequent fiscal year to be $94,000, hence the receivable there. We don't have any current liabilities in this TIF. And we had no expenditures for the fiscal year. So our ending fund balance for this TIF, which is the North Lakefront TIF, is $226,000. Be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions regarding this TIF, TIF number 7? All right, if being none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the report from TIF number 7, North Lakefront TIF. Did I do
So
that?
moved.
Second by the Park District.
Mr. Caselli?
Hello, I'm sorry, you guys cut out for 1 second.
Oh, okay. The motion was made by
College of Lake County.
College of Lake County, Mr. Kenneth Gotch.
Second by Kyle.
Second by
Any comments, questions, or concerns?
Joe.
Lake County,
Yes.
No.
City,
Sorry.
Aye.
Park,
Yes.
Lake County,
Yes.
public member,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move. So move.
A motion by
Second by Public Member Matthews.
okay, second by public member Anton.
Motion has been made and seconded. This is not a debatable motion. College of Lake County,
Yes.
City,
Aye.
Park,
Park District.
Yes, sorry.
Lake County,
Aye.
public member.
Aye.
Let's give it like 2 minutes and then we'll get started on the last two.
All right.
I believe we're staying live on the live stream. Oh, no, we're not. Okay. We're live.
Welcome to the Joint Review Board meeting for the City of Waukegan for TIF District Number 8. The Joint Review Board is a special meeting required under the TIF Act and the Industrial Jobs Recovery Law for the purposes of reviewing the TIF Act requirements and reviewing TIF financial and other activity which in each district during every fiscal year. This meeting of the City of Waukegan Joint Review Board for the proposed TIF District Number 8 is called to order at approximately 4 p.m. As there is no chair, I will do the roll call, the initial roll call. College of Lake County,
Here.
City,
Here.
Park,
Yes, here.
Lake County.
Yes. Here.
All other members that would constitute this joint review board have been contacted and have acknowledged receipt or there has been evidence of receipt of the appropriate notifications, all of which have been made in accordance with law, but are not currently participating. The first order for a joint review board is the selection of a public member. I believe that there is a Mr. Anton Matthews, who's a very well-versed and experienced public member. Does anyone have a nomination for the public member for this JRB for TIF number 8?
I make the motion to nominate Mr. Anton Matthews.
Is there a second to that motion?
Waukegan Park District seconds.
The motion has been made and seconded. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, College of Lake County,
Yes.
City,
Aye.
Park District,
Yes, sorry.
Lake County.
Aye.
Mr.
Yes.
Matthews, it's unanimous. You are the public member. Our second action on the Joint Review Board is the selection of a chair. Are there any nominations for the chair?
I would like to nominate Alderman Edith Newsome as chair.
Second.
The motion has been made by the public member and by Lake County to nominate Alderman Edith Newsome as the chair. Any questions, comments, or concerns? She is well experienced as the chair. There are no questions, comments, or concerns. Lake County,
Yes.
No.
City,
Aye.
Alderman,
Aye, sorry.
thank you. Park,
Yes.
Lake County,
Yes. Aye.
and Mr. Public Member.
Aye.
Madam Chair, congratulations.
All right, thank you, sir.
I'll turn it over to you. I think Ms. Migalski will start the report and Noel will finish it.
All right, thank you. Ms. Migelski, it's all yours.
Okay. All right, TIF 8. Try to do this without getting rid of Mr. Gotch's picture there by accident. TIF 8 is our downtown lakefront TIF. It was established January 1st, 2014. The property tax receipts into this TIF district for the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2020 were $440,000. The cumulative total of tax receipts since the inception of the TIF is just over $1 million. We did have $71,000 worth of expenses in this TIF this year, which included some professional services. And this was for consulting services. Let me find the detail. I'll get to that on the next slide. We also had a Karcher Art Space redevelopment agreement that we have on file where the city does reimburse them, or the TIF district, I should say, reimburses Karcher Art Space 90% of their property tax bill paid annually. And that payment was made out of the TIF. And then Thomas J. Fitzgerald was the consultant that we had working for us during the fiscal year, and he was working on some redevelopment opportunities regarding, I believe, the railroad and related property around there.
Tina, I have a question.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How much longer is that TIF with Art Space?
That
agreement?
Noelle may know off the top of her head. I know that it was established before this TIF was, when there was an older TIF here. I think we have quite a few years left on it. It was like a 20 to 30 year agreement, wasn't it, Noelle?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm going to look and try to get you that answer while we're going through this.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Tina.
Our fund balance in this TIF is just over $500,000. And investments to date, we've had over $9 million in private investment and $1.4 million in public investment in this TIF. The details of those building permits are listed here for your information. The base EAV when this TIF was established was 15.8 million, and the EAV has grown since that time to 19.8 million. The mayor did sign certification that we were in compliance with the TIF Act during the fiscal year, and the same from our corporation counsel, Mr. Long. And there were several building permits issued, many of these on Belvedere, Clayton, and Genesee Street, as well as some on Washington Street as well. As you can see, a lot of these commercial permits were rather small, facade improvements and things like that. I don't know if Noelle wants to add it. I'm kind of putting her on the spot or add anything to that. There was a couple significant ones, for example, 326 North Genesee, a few commercial ones.
Fantastic job covering that, Tina. Thank you.
Thank you. This is probably the most active of the 3 TIFs that we have between 7, 8, and 9 because of its location covering downtown. Our audited financial statements, we anticipate a clean audit opinion. It is attached here in draft format. We're just waiting for Sickage to release those final reports to us. Our balance sheet, you can see here that this has a healthy fund balance in it. Our assets total $523,000 in cash. We do anticipate receiving property taxes next year, just over $500,000. That's why we recorded that receivable. And we don't have any current liabilities or notes outstanding. The Karcher Art Space TIF doesn't rise to the level of where we need to record that liability per our external auditors. So we do not have that recorded at this time. As you can see from the income statement, this did have a positive net return for the year. And our fund balance remains, as I mentioned, at $520,000. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to address those at this time. If not, this report, once finalized, will be filed with the state comptroller.
Okay, are there any questions to TIF number 8? Being none, I will entertain a motion to accept the report from the TIF number 8 downtown Harborfront and South Beach TIF. Are there, entertain a motion from Mr. Kenneth Gosh
So moved.
and Waukegan Park
Second.
District?
Second. Yeah.
Second. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
College Lake County,
Aye.
City,
Aye.
Park,
Yes.
Lake County,
Aye.
public member.
Aye.
2 last things. We have to see if there's anyone who called in for public comment.
There have been no calls for public comment. I also do have an answer to the question about the length of time for the Karcher Art Space Lofts reimbursement agreement. And that is that the last year of the reimbursement payment is 2032.
Woo. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Closer by the day.
Well, 4 more years. Okay. All right. All right.
Motion to adjourn, Madam Chair.
Okay, we don't have to wait a few minutes for the call. No calls. Okay. I'll take a motion by Lake County Angelo Kyle to
Yes.
adjourn. Second
Yes.
by
So moved.
member Anton Matthews. All those in favor?
Aye.
No, we need a roll call. We need a roll call. Madam Chair, can we do a roll call just because
Oh, yes, yes,
the
yes.
format? Yeah. Lake County,
Aye.
City,
Aye.
Park,
Yes.
public member,
Aye.
College Lake County.
Yes.
We stand adjourned. You want to give it a minute or so or no?
No.
Oh,
Okay. It's gonna be a coup. All right. We are live, right, Noel?
Let me just double check. We are still live.
Welcome to the Joint Review Board meeting for the City of Waukegan for TIF number 9. The Joint Review Board is a special meeting required under the TIF Act and the Industrial Jobs Recovery Law for the purposes of reviewing activity within a TIF district. The meeting of the Joint The City of Waukegan Joint Review Board for the TIF District Number 9 is called to order as of approximately 4:10 p.m. Introductions of representatives for the Joint Review Board. College of Lake County,
Ken Gotch,
City of Waukegan,
Edith Newsom,
Waukegan Park District,
John Beckman.
Lake County.
Angelo Kyle.
And we have been advised by Noel, who is so gracious to put all this together today, that all other possible JRB members have been notified, have received the materials, but are not attending today. Under the laws of the TIF Act and the Joint Review Board, this is a sufficient quorum. However, we now need to appoint a public member. Are there any nominations for public member?
I nominate public member Anton Matthews.
Is there a
Second,
second?
Park District.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Any questions, comments, and concerns for the nomination of Mr. Matthews? Seeing none, may I call the roll? Thank you. College of Lake County,
aye.
City of Waukegan,
Aye.
Waukegan Park District,
Yes.
Thank you. Lake County,
Aye.
Mr. Matthews, for the last time, congratulations. You are the public member for the TIF district, but our next action is to select a chair. Are there any nominations for the chairperson for the Joint Review Board for TIF number 9?
I will
Nominate
like to
Ms.
Alderman. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Would like to nominate Ms. Edith Newsom.
The nomination
Second.
has been made and seconded by Lake County and respectively College of Lake County. Any questions, comments, or concerns? She has served as a fantastic chair of the Joint Review Boards for the City of Waukegan. Seeing no questions, comments, or concerns, roll. College of Lake County,
Aye.
City,
Aye.
Park District,
Yes.
Lake County,
Aye.
and public member.
Aye.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Okay, we will do the TIF number 9, South Lakefront TIF, Ms. Smigelski.
Uh-oh, Mr. Matthews might get bumped as the public member because I see a real cute face there.
Thank you, Tina. I appreciate that. And he does too.
Okay, let me, I gotta get, go away, top thing. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. TIF number 9 is our South Lakefront TIF. It was founded in January 1st, 2014. For the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2020, we received $73,000 in tax revenues into the TIF, which brings the cumulative total of tax revenues in this TIF to $142,000. Expenses for the year were $4,000 total. And let's get to the fund balance is $122,000. Freezing here. There we go. The private investment to date is $807,000. We have had no public investment to date in this TIF. And the EAV growth it started at 3.8 million and it has gone up just under $1 million to 4.7 at the close of the fiscal year. The mayor did provide certification that we are in compliance with the TIF statute, as did our corporation council. And we had some limited building permits pulled all on South Genesee Street for this TIF, all commercial additions or alterations. Finally, we do anticipate receiving a clean opinion letter. We do have the draft here from the auditors. But again, as I had explained in an earlier meeting, due to the remote nature of the audit this year, we are a little delayed in getting those reports from our auditors. But the numbers will not change from this draft. The assets in this TIF, we have $122,000 in cash and investments. We anticipate receiving just over $106,000 in property taxes next year and have no outstanding liabilities currently. Property taxes are 53,000. We did have some expenses for consulting services out of this TIF of $4,100. So we have an ending fund balance of 122,000. If there's any questions or concerns, I'd be happy to answer it.
Are there any questions regarding TIF number 9? Did we receive any calls or anything, Noel?
We have not received any calls.
Okay. No questions? I take a motion.
Nor any written comments.
Okay. I'll take a motion to accept TIF number 9, South Lakefront TIF. I'll take a motion by Park District, John Beckman. Second by Lake County, Angelo Kyle.
All right. So move.
Are there any questions?
The motion has been made and seconded without any questions. Mr. Chair or Madam Chair, do you want me to take it or do you want to take it?
Take the roll.
College of Lake County,
Aye.
City,
Aye.
Park,
Yes.
Lake County,
Aye.
and public member.
Aye.
I think we only have one more thing to do today. Thanks everybody for their patience for our 2 hour and 40 or 15 minute meeting. Motion to adjourn.
I'll take a motion by CLC Kenneth Gosh,
So moved.
second by our public member Anton Matthews to adjourn. Roll call, please.
College of Lake County,
Aye.
City,
Aye.
Park,
Yes.
Lake County,
Aye.
and Mr. Public Member, send us home.
Aye.
Motion carried. We're adjourned at 4:16 p.m. Thank you.
All
Thank you,
right.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Everybody, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Mr. Vasily, stay right there. I want to see that little one.
Okay. Say hi.
Oh, what a doll.
Superman t-shirt. Hold on.
Awesome.
You